me check if this is working. Oh no, if it is. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Hi everybody. Welcome back to a comic streaming thingy-majig. My comic drawing stream. And I'm working on, once again, a page from my creator-owned comic, DEMONIAC. And just like last time, I'm working on page 7 now, so I'm just kind of finishing this up. And I'm at like the end stage of the ink, so I thought it would be cool to share it with everybody. And I won't be able to do a stream this Sunday, so I thought I would kind of push things up a little earlier and do a stream now. So for like people on Patreon who I promised I would do a weekly stream for, and all my previous promises to do more drawing streams, this will be the stream for today. So a little introduction for people who don't know. This is, like I said, my creator-owned comic. It's titled Demoniac, and it's a mystery, action, high fantasy comic. And I'm just getting started on it, but I'm really excited. And, ooh, what's that thing? Go away. My desktop. I'm really excited for it, and it's like the main thing I've been focusing on. If you check out my Patreon, you can find some more information on that. And also, you can find a lot of extra updates and extra content that are for patrons only. So check that out. Even if you aren't a patron, I post almost exclusive updates for this comic on there. And it's really exciting. And I'm really looking forward to showing more to everybody. So all that out of the way, let's get to work. And so just like last time, if you guys have any questions or comments, just type them in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on the chat, so I'll be able to answer any art questions and stuff. And let's see. I think I'll probably, well, I'm in a really weird time zone. It's like 11 a.m. over here. I'll probably stream for a couple of hours and then head off to get some food. So, yeah, come join me. All right. These pages aren't like too mind-blowing. It's kind of just two people talking. So this is what we call like talking heads pages. But I don't know, I'm glad I really enjoy drawing my characters, so I'm not bored. But is there really like any action yet? Like a few pages ago there was a murder scene, so it was a lot more tension. It was like a lot of fun to play with the lighting and stuff, but it's not too much going on here. But I do enjoy drawing my characters. These couple of kids are my main lead-ins to the story. I have like, my core cast is about 4 or 5 characters. So this is Casimir and Ivar. Ivar is like the younger guy. So they're sort of lead into like the mystery. The mystery is they find somebody, a person that's being that has been killed mysteriously in the mountains, and they go to investigate and track down the creature that killed them and find out that it's a demon, and then they go to find a source of demon infestation, and it's a whole big adventure that results from that. So that is the premise of the story. But this is just the beginning. As you can see, I have just finished like thumbnails for the first chapter, so really early in the story, but I'm really happy with how it's turning out. By the way, I set up like some background music to play through OBS while I'm drawing, but I don't know if it's actually working. I did some test recordings and it was working fine in the test recordings, but then on my stream last week and when I streamed on Facebook a few days ago, it didn't show up. I don't know what's up with all that. Kind of driving me crazy. But then I also just updated my OBS to the newest version, so maybe that'll make things better. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, let me know, you guys, if you hear some background music in the chat. I thought that would add a little flavor and interest to the stream. Don't know. I gotta figure this out. This thing isn't working. Maybe it's a problem with my computer. I don't think so, though. Oh, I also turned up the resolution for the stream from before. So hopefully that works better for everybody. This is like as high resolution as it can get. I really need a better computer. Is the chat not working? Or no? Oh, I have to go here. Okay. Still figuring out Twitch, you guys. This is like my second serious stream on Twitch. Well, it's my second stream on Twitch, period. So, but I haven't done a lot of streaming before this. But as I said, I am now committed to doing a lot of them and at least doing weekly drawing streams. So it's a learning experience for me. This is kind of like the boring pencil stage, isn't it? Maybe I should switch to shading or something where things look prettier. People like to see that more. Man, I was gonna finish this page yesterday, I was like so determined. I was like so close to finishing it, but then I got really carried away with panel 3. So in the end, it's kind of like I had the last panel was just I just like was completely tired and conked out before I finished the last panel. But this page went a lot faster than the previous ones, and I'm pretty happy about that because I'm trying to get my speed up a little more for this comic. My speed is pretty good for publisher comics and most of the, you know, the work I do for other people. I do about a page a day on average, but for this comic, because I'm going with a different style, and it's also a lot more detailed than most of the stuff I've done for anybody else. So a lot of pages have been taking me longer, and I also have to handle all the designs and handle, you know, the script and the storytelling and edit things regarding that as I go. So it's been taking me longer to do the pages, and I've just been mainly focusing on working faster and kind of getting in the groove for this, because you don't want to take too long. Like in the end, you know, it's gonna be a very long comic. It's like the first arc is probably gonna be 400 to 500 pages, so I can't noodle on this. I can't do like 1 week a page. It's gotta be, you know, aiming for 1 page every 2 days on average. And big environment pages will probably take longer, but I think 1 page every 2 days is a pretty good place to aim for. And I think I can hit it. I just have to kind of get more used to the style and the characters and everything. But I do think I am getting faster as I work. So that's pretty good. Oh, this character looks really bored. That's okay, he's supposed to look bored. This character's fun. He's like a really sarcastic character who's just always in a bad mood. It's a lot of fun to write. See, the angle of his face looks a little strange. Oh, that's a tangent. Let me pull this scarf up a little more. Alright, good enough. Alright, well, doing pencils is boring, so I'm going to switch to something else. Let's see. But yeah, that is page 7. And I do like how panel 3 turned out. Anyway, it's like a quick flashback scene of one of the characters' memories. So I made it all blurry and really gritty, and this is the first glimpse that we have of the demons and monsters. So the Casimir and Ivar, these 2 characters here, go and track down the monsters in, you know, further on in chapter 1, but Casimir has seen the monsters before, years and years ago. He has like a vague memory of it. The whole plot is about sort of him trying to figure out what happened with that memory. I'm not going to spoil too many things. I want to spoil everything. I'm way too excited about this story. But he has like a vague recollection of these demons, and this is like our first glimpse into it. So, okay, anyways. Alright, I will see. Shading is a lot more interesting, so let me start doing the shading for page 6. Oh yeah, this is a page I was streaming last week. If you guys check that out. So I'm just doing kind of not screen tones. It's sort of a little painterly look. What I'm going for is something that looks a bit like ink wash. So I'm focusing a lot on the lighting for this whole comic because it's not going to be in color. At least I'm not going to color it. If maybe I'll hire a colorist, but I am not interested in doing colors. It's just not my thing. It'll take too long, first of all. And I'm not a very fast colorist, but also I just don't think it's necessary. If readers want it, I might hire a colorist, but it kind of depends. I don't really think it's that necessary, you know, for this story. I'm studying a lot of black and white films, and I mean, I grew up with manga, so So I've been revisiting a lot of my favorite works in black and white and studying storytelling with just black and white comics. And I think that's something that can totally be pulled off. It also saved me time, which is good. Yeah, once again, if you're just joining, I see there's a few more people watching now. Feel free to type any questions in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on the chat, so if you have art questions or questions about what I'm working on, just write it down. Hi, Jerry. Hello again. Oh, I'm sorry that you can't watch again. Thanks for popping by anyways. Hope I'll catch you at a better time next time. I was going to do a stream on Sunday at a mildly more reasonable time. I'm aiming for probably like 8 or 9 p.m. But I'm going to be busy this Sunday. So I should be doing some traveling and going somewhere for a bit of a temporary job. So I'll be really busy for a few days next week. So yeah, I won't be able to do a stream probably. I should be able to do a stream next weekend, but not this Sunday. So I just wanted to keep my promise of doing a weekly stream and get that in today while I can. Add some detail into this character. Realize I didn't add much detail into his eyes. I mean, I guess this looks fine, but I like to draw really detailed irises. So let's add some little dashes here like that. By the way, in case it's not obvious, I put details on everything. Details everywhere! Details are the best. And this is why this comic is taking me so long. I've got a huge environment scene coming up literally next page. It's a big, like, bird's eye curvilinear perspective shot of a whole town. It's gonna be nuts. And it's probably gonna take me like 4 days. But it's pretty important because it's an establishing shot of a major location for the story, so maybe I'll be able to do that on my stream next week. I really enjoy doing environments and backgrounds, which a lot of people don't enjoy doing, but I do because I'm strange and I'm a weirdo. Seriously, doing environments are fun. I don't get why people are apprehensive about that. It's like another character in your story. Environments are a character too. Do those eyes look good? I think those look good. Alright. Back to shading. So the way I do shading is just kind of almost everything on 1 or 2 layers. This is the vignette for panel 2. Which actually, I might change, so let me turn that off for now. Yeah. And I actually shaded the eyes as a bit of a demo for somebody. I was showing somebody how to use layer masks. But usually I just do all my shading on about 1 or 2 layers. Like I'll have a layer set to about 60%, or you just set to like 50%, and then another layer set to maybe 30 or 40%, and kind of just work on it like I would with actual ink wash. And then on top of that, I'll throw on some vignettes, especially because right now this is a night scene, so a lot of vignettes are useful, and glows for stuff like lantern lights and sunlight and reflection. Like I said, I'm going very cinematic, and I'm focusing a lot on the lighting for this story. So that's kind of how I'm doing the shading. It's pretty straightforward, and it's almost, I mean, it's not complicated. I'm keeping it really simple. It's literally just like I'm doing digital ink wash. And I'm also throwing a bit of a texture over the pages. As you can see, I have like a texture layer. And I don't know if it shows up well on screen. Let's see if we zoom way in. If you look really closely, I suppose you can see the texture. It's just a really simple watercolor paper texture. But it adds just that tiny little bit of grit to your drawing, and it just makes it feel more real and a little more grounded. So I'm throwing that texture onto all of my pages. These trees were a pain. Took me a while to figure out. I couldn't find any reference for what trees covered in snow look like from the top, so I just had to like use my imagination. Oh wait, he doesn't have a lantern. Oh, there's like a lot of ambulance outside. Or siren. Sorry about that. I'm kind of far from the nearest major road, but for some reason sound still carries. Like, I guess because there's a lot of empty lots, so I can hear everything from this huge major road that's like kind of far away. It's kind of annoying. Let's see. Most of the characters are carrying lanterns, but the guy in the back is not. I sort of want him to. Well, this is also a bit of a character building moment because he's obviously a bit more of a loner in the story, and he's kind of a recluse, and he doesn't live in town like most of the other people present. He kind of lives on his own, and it's just a bit antisocial. So this is kind of a bit of a character defining moment because we're really early in the story, and I'm showing that through their actions, and it just felt right that he would kind of fall back away from the group. But also, this is a little hint that he has seen the. Okay, so rewind. They just found a guy that was mysteriously killed in the mountains, and this person that's in the back holding the axe, he is the trapper, and he knows like the mountains really well, and he has seen the demon he knows what creature killed this guy. Nobody else knows. This is a mystery. They don't know about these creatures yet, but he has an inkling that, oh, there might be danger around. So here I wanted to show he's kind of falling back from the group. He's got his hand on his weapon, and he's keeping an eye out, and he has his lantern off, so he's not drawing too much attention to himself, like in case something comes out at them from the woods, right? So I kind of wanted that to just be shown instead of being told. Just really, it's kind of subtle, but it fit the character. They are in snow, but it is nighttime, so it'll still be kind of dark. guess this would all be kind of in shade. There'll be some light. These characters are holding lanterns. Oh yeah, again, let me know if my audio sounds strange, and especially if you guys can hear the little music loop I put in the background, because there's supposed to be a music loop on my OBS. I set it to play a pleasant little music thingy in the background, but it wasn't showing up on my last streams. I don't know why. It shows up when I do test recordings, but not on streams, so it's just driving me positively crazy. Maybe I just don't know how to use technology. I don't know. I have no idea. I think this is a little too dark for snow. I'll just lighten it in a second. And the trees will be a little darker towards the top. I think that looks decently right. There we go. I have discovered that drawing trees and landscapes covered in snow but in nighttime with other secondary and tertiary sources of lighting is rather complicated. I've actually never drawn scenes in the snow before. It's not very much. No, I haven't. So this entire book is set basically in the coldest continent and is constantly snowing. So I better get really good at drawing snow and things covered in snow. Mostly just trees. And also trees, because there's mountains everywhere. It's a learning curve, but I can do it. Got this. I think that's decent. No, let me tweak the edges of that tree. See, the lantern light would be hitting just the edges of those branches, so I should have some highlights right there. Okay, I think that's decent. Yeah, these two guys are both holding lanterns. And this lady in front. But they would still have a shadow beneath them though, so there. I'm not going too exact with my shading because my line work is already very exact and pretty tight. So I'm gonna go a little looser with the shading. Like I said, I wanted to feel just really painterly. Like it's painted on real ink wash or just watercolor. Want a little flexibility with this style, you know. I think I mentioned before, but I want to be able to kind of, especially for action scenes, because there will be a lot of action in the story, just interspersed throughout the chapters. I want to be able to switch to a more painterly, motion-y style if I want to, and do a lot of blur lines and motion blurs and be really cinematic with how I board out action scenes. So I think having this style that's a little more flexible, that isn't just straight up black and white line art, would help me with that. At least I think it would help with how I work. Ah, what was that? Thanks, Photoshop. Just suddenly sprigging out for a minute. Right, I will lighten this. See. There we go. That is pretty accurate lighting for that panel. Wait. Ah, no. So that shade one, always name your layers so you can find things, especially if you have 5 million layers in every single file. I am going to add a quick vignette layer. Let's see, set that to how many? Let's do yeah, like 40%ish. And I'll do the vignette in the layer mask. There. So this character in the back is kind of in the shade, but I want it to be too dark, so I want him to be visible. Kind of a tunnel of light going down the center of the page like that, or that the first panel. Cool. I like that. I think that works. A pathway of light down the middle. It should be lighter over here. No more shadow here. I like how that looks. Right. It's decent for now. As you can see, shading goes much faster than doing the line art. Thankfully. Make this the vignette. Darken these. Some of the characters' clothes are supposed to be darker. Like his cloak is pretty much black, so this cloak should be darker. Add some lighting on shadows on top of their shoulders and heads, because the lighting is kind of reversed from the daytime here, because the light is coming from beneath. So the tops of their heads and their shoulders would be cast in shadow, and it'll help them pop off the ground a little more. There we go. Voila. Lighten that just slightly. Alright. And add a panel too. I think doing the shading in kind of short little hatchy brush strokes like this kind of it brings out the texture of his hair a little more. And by the way, I'm using just default Photoshop brushes. I'm not using anything fancy. This is just like the brush over here, like at the top. You can see my brush options. I don't use any fancy brushes or anything really. I don't even use the sort of more calligraphic, I guess, brushes that Photoshop has now, that works with brush sensitivity and has like really brushy brush effects, because those brushes in Photoshop are not even as good as their counterparts in, say, Clip Studio Paint. So if I want to get really, really good ink work, like usually for illustrations and covers, if I want to get just solid ink work or brush strokes that look like they're done traditionally, if I don't actually just do it traditionally, I'll just do it in Clip Studio Paint. So when I'm in Photoshop, I use like just the default brushes almost all the time. I did download some halftone brushes. It's from, I think the artist's name is Kyle Webster, and he has made some really, really good halftone brushes on Gumroad, and I bought those and I used them for a comic a while ago that I never finished. And they're really good, but I don't think I'm gonna go with halftone for this. It doesn't really suit the story. The style that I'm kind of inspired by for the story is, if you've read Blade of the Immortal, and kind of what Takehiko Inoue did for Vagabond, but I'm not quite going for the same style. A little more painted and sketchy, so a lot like Blade of the Immortal. And I do love the art style of Vagabond. It's really, really pretty comic. Hello! I don't know how to read your username, but Aikizen17? I'm sorry I butchered that. Thanks for joining! I'm glad you like Gwenpool and Silk. Those are fun books to work on. I'm really glad to hear you like those. I miss working on them. So sad. But good things have to end. Sigh. My girls. lighten that hair a little more. His hair's not that dark. It's his hair color is like reddish brown. So it's darker than the his friend who's blonde. But I want to add a little amount of shading to it, so you can tell it's got some color. Alright. Now let's do the skin. Alright, I'm going to switch to a softer brush to do the skin for now. Alright, so the lighting is coming from below. So the lighting on his face would be kind of like this. Everybody is kind of underlit right now. So I kind of switch between like hard brushes and soft brushes for doing skin, but I usually started doing just a soft brush base. I'm going to shade this out of his face to add a little volume. Turn down. So the area under the eyes would also be kind of dark. I love doing lighting like this, by the way. It adds a lot to the mood of the story. And I want this comic to feel really creepy at times, and also just mysterious and fantastical. So I'm trying to focus on doing lighting that adds to the mood that I want. Studying cinematography helps. I mean, it basically is cinematography. You're directing the visuals just on a comic page. Alright, gotta switch to a soft eraser. That's nice and spooky, right? I love doing dramatic lighting. Here. Alright. Let me just mask out this area because I know I won't be shading it. That's the background. Oops. Oh, okay. So I'll reverse that. Alright. So I'll do the lighting here, just at the same time. This still wouldn't be that dark in panel 3. So the light here in panel 3 would be coming from Ivar, which is the guy with the short hair. His lantern that's kind of just off the panel at the very bottom. So that's my light source that I have to keep in mind. It wouldn't be that dark. The lantern's still pretty close. Hello, mocap. Welcome. Just working on my comic again. This page for my comic Demoniac. Which, if you've been following me on all my other platforms, I have mentioned this is the primary thing that I'm working on, besides from, you know, just my normal commissions and whatever jobs I'm hired for. But this is like my main personal project that I'm focusing on, and it's the I completely revamped my Patreon to be geared towards this comic. So I'm really excited for it, and it's gonna get done, even though it's a big project and it's gonna be a lot of work, but I'm gonna do it. I really like the story. Can't wait. But I think most of my streams on Twitch and on my other platforms will be working on this comic. I want to give back to the people that are supporting me doing this, you know, because I've already received a lot of support and people are excited for the story and stuff. And not to mention the people that are, you know, supporting me on Patreon. So the streams are definitely a reward for that. I want to keep everyone updated and just share what I'm doing. Thanks, Mocap! I'm being optimistic now. It's alright. Doing creator-owned stuff has its ups and downs, you know. And I know that. I know it won't be easy, but I didn't get into this because it was easy, you know. I got in this because apparently I'm mildly masochistic. A friend literally told me that I seem to just like torturing myself with a lot of work and like doing a lot of detail. I'm like, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe. But I just love drawing comics. And I love detailed art. And I love doing this. No one's making me do it. This is just what I want to do with my time. You know, it's my dream to create my own stories, and it's just always fascinated me so much, and I've admired people that could create stories and that were good at storytelling and, you know, taking people on a journey with their ideas. It's so fascinating. It's just so awesome. It's like magic. It's the closest thing to magic I've ever seen. Let's put it that way. So, I mean, this project is not anything that people are making me do. This is just, I'm doing it because I love it. And I don't know how I'm gonna put the comic out yet either. I was just talking to some friends about maybe crowdfunding it, but like, of course, the minute you mention crowdfunding, a lot of people are really apprehensive. They're like, oh yeah, there's so much work you have to do, and you need to have a following first, and you have to be careful. It's like, I know you have to be careful, and you need to build a following first, right? And it's not like I would launch a crowdfunding campaign for this comic tomorrow or something. It would be, I'm not really in a rush. Like, I want to get a lot of work done. Like I've said before, I want to get a big backlog going or ready before I even launch or release. Definitely, I want to have like just chapters and chapters already done. So it's going to be a long time before I, you know, properly release the comic. Well, not like years and years, but like I'll take a few months to really be ready and prepared. Like, I'm not going to rush this out, right? And I know there's a lot of prep work to be done for doing crowdfunding campaigns, and it's really intense, and you need to sort of do a lot of advertising, and I know all that, and I'm ready to do the work. But I'm really wondering if it's a better option than going to a traditional publisher. Sorry, because the thing is, it's not even that I'm not confident in my work, but I'm thinking of the fact that I'm a relatively new creator. And I've been published with Marvel, I've been published with other small press, and I've worked for, TV animation and games and all that kind of stuff for years. But as far as comics go, I haven't done any creator-owned stuff. And, I'm still, relatively speaking, really new to the industry. I'm not particularly old, and as I said, I haven't done any creator-owned thing before. And this story is not a small project. But usually you would go with a mini comic for your first pitch. But the thing with what I did was, for all my comics previous to this, I, instead of pitching my comic projects, I would just self-publish them. So I haven't really had my own work where, I can prove my writing and my storytelling published to a publisher before. So because of that, I feel like maybe either a publisher would be apprehensive to take me, or I wouldn't really get a good deal, right? Because I'm a new creator with a huge project, and why would a publisher trust someone who's not that, who's unproven? Even though I know I'm going to finish this project, I know that it's going to happen, I'm going to make it as good as possible, but they don't know me. So I'm kind of wondering if I should just directly go to the people who want to see the story. And, I'm doing this for the audience anyways. I'm doing this to entertain the people who support it and who want to support my work. And I want to tell a good story for them. So I'm wondering if I should just directly go to the people that want to read this story and, produce it on my own. And that's why I was thinking of doing crowdfunding. Because really, if I go to the publisher, if I don't get, say, Image or something, would I really get a good deal, It's kind of stuff I'm thinking about. There's a lot to take into consideration when you're doing a pitch, or trying to figure out what platform is best for your creator-owned work. I've had people tell me I should check out webtoons and stuff as well, but look, this comic is not going to suit webtoons. I know that. There's a lot to take into consideration when publishing yourself, and the actual format that would best suit your comic is also a major consideration, and webtoons does not suit this comic. This is very much kind of old school, kind of manga, kind of European comicsy. I'm going really detailed with the art, and it's not like a phone scrolly comic thing, which is what webtoons are. And it's not that I have no problem with that medium, but that's not what I want to do here. I kind of want to do a comics comic, something that you can hold in your book, something a little kind of old school, right? And the way stories, I don't know, a lot of the webtoons I've seen, maybe I'm a little prejudiced, but it's just most of the ones I've seen, they don't have huge, detailed shots and big fantasy, fantastical settings and big environment shots and a lot of detail and super, super detailed characters, and because you're supposed to read it on your phone. And I want to do stuff that's huge detailed environments and big shots of armies and stuff, and why would I go for a platform where you read on a tiny phone screen? Right? It's like a lot of webtoons, they almost feel like light novels. It's for reading on the phone when you're sitting on a train for 2 hours. So it's not something that would suit me. I don't think it would work. And I'm not going to force my story to adapt to a platform where it's, that doesn't suit it. I'm going to publish the story in the way that suits my vision of what it should be. Yeah. nice mocap. Cool. Yeah, I'll take a look in a second. Yeah, I'm totally just starting out with doing Twitch and stuff, but I know, I'll kind of baby steps, right? I'll learn as I go. I'm just like proud of myself at this point for getting a proper OBS setup, and I got a real microphone, a decent microphone. It's not like a Blue Yeti or Snowball, but better than what I had before. Right, ooh, let's save. Saving is important, kids. Remember to save. Give me a second to let Photoshop do its work. Right. Alright, once again, the light source will be coming from the bottom. Yes, my characters have rat tails. It's a fashion choice, okay? It's a fashion choice. When they wear it, it looks good. Actually, this was a design choice to help add motion during action scenes. So I was like, oh, a ponytail is kind of too much hair, and like, you know, enemies might grab it and stuff. So I was like, I'll give them like weird little rat tails and stuff. I don't know, I guess sometimes I have like a really weird aesthetic because, again, I come from like manga. So just have like weird ideas for things. But it works though, because there's going to be a lot of fight scenes that I'm really looking forward to drawing. Try to strike a balance between like doing cool designs and something that's actually practical. At least I don't have to worry about sticking to anything historical, because this is complete fantasy, by the way. Like, the continent that the story starts out on has kind of a pre-Christian, Eastern and Northern European, like Nordic or Slavic inspired feel. And then there's some of the mythology and some of the monsters from the mythology of, you know, that part of the world. But it's not historical anyway. It's like I have an entire map that I made up. It's completely it's complete fantasy. So that's kind of nice. It's a lot more work, but it's also a lot of creative freedom, which I like. So I don't mind more work. I just want to be able to go crazy with my drawings. Yeah. I'll switch back to hard eraser. Now I'm just noodling on all the detail on his clothes. The hilt should be darker here. There we go. See, the lighting would actually be brighter towards the bottom because the lighting is like right here where I just circled it, or down here because that's where he's holding a lantern. So the bottom of their bodies would be more brightly lit. There'd be a little rim lighting here. And the faces would be kind of dark. Here we go. A little highlight on his hair. I see some shadow on his cheek too. The top of his cheek would be sloping upwards away from the light source. So that is about right. Alright. I think that's pretty accurate. Let me add some more texture to his hair over here. Just like that. I think I'll lighten the shading here a bit. This hair is pretty light, so it seems like if it's too dark, if I shade it too dark, it looks like he has like brown hair, but he doesn't. This will be a little darker. Maybe that's too dark. I think that's alright for panel 3. Let me fix the shading on his hair a bit. So we've got this layer that's more, okay, that's like the local color shading. So this would be like, if his hair is an actual, like if it was just in the daytime. This is just like the natural, the color, like the shading layer to indicate the natural color of something. But this shading layer here is for the actual lighting. So those two combined kind of completes the the shade design or the light and dark design, whatever the lighting design that I'm going for. Yeah, it's a little too dark over here. And I'm gonna adjust this here a bit, because the top of his head also should be darker. Seeing that compared to the light hitting his face. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, the reason I won't be able to do a stream on Sunday is because I was asked to do a translation job for a friend of a friend all the way in another city. And it's good money and it's apparently a really easy job, but a friend of a friend had to go somewhere for an emergency and they needed somebody to take over for this job. And I'm just like, okay. And it's just like a few hours during the daytime, but they need me to be in another city, so I'll be traveling on pretty much for the next 2 weeks. So I will not be in my normal city for the next 2 weeks. It was a bit of a surprise. It was really sudden, but like I said, it was an emergency from an acquaintance. But yeah, exciting stuff. Basically, though, like, well, it's like a translation job between, it's like English-Chinese translation job. Like, I'm in Taiwan, so I know a lot of people that do that kind of work. But apparently this is kind of, I don't know, it's translation for the local government or something. But anyways, like, my friend was like, oh, Irene, you do freelance work, and are you on any projects, or are you at any conventions? No? Okay, can you come to this other city right now? We'll pay you a lot of money to do translation for like a couple weeks. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? So that's what's going down with me. All next week and the week after. So that's gonna be fun. But I didn't have any major deadlines, or I'm not doing any conventions this month, so I can take it. I can take that work. My crazy life. Okay, I think the hair looks good. Panel 2. Does his mouth look a little too cartoony? I'll fix it later. Let me add some more shading over here. Add a little shadow at the point where his clothes are folding. I'm being so nitpicky about everything. Every detail must be right. All right. Now let's move on to panel 4. And I'll just do the shading. This layer is just the local color. So, oh, my eraser was at 40%. That's why I was feeling weird. Alright, I'll just shade his hair like this. So doing little strokes like that adds texture to, especially to short hair. It's just like cross-hatching when you're doing ink work in black and white. He's got some arrows on his back. I wonder if it would show. You'd probably be able to see it over his shoulder in panel 2, right? I'll go back and add that in later. Probably be able to see his arrow quiver right over his shoulder. Oops. Like that. So I'm doing like really loose pencils for this comic because I'm working digitally anyway, so pretty much like I'll show you guys my sketch layer. It looks like this. It's like really, it's just basically thumbnail roughs, and then I just straight go to inks right over it. But I can do it because I'm working digitally, and it's pretty easy to just edit things as I go when I'm working digitally. The only downside is I won't have originals to sell maybe if I want to do that, but you know, it expedites the process a lot to do the comic completely digital. So as much as I love traditional, I do really like doing traditional pages, and I was almost going to go back to doing full traditional for this comic, but then I realized it would just take far too long because I did the first few pages and I penciled them, and I was going to print them out in blue line and ink them traditionally. And then I realized, hey, this comic is going to be maybe a couple thousand pages. Maybe that would take way too long. So I want it to look good, but also it's a really long comic. So maybe just doing digital would be a good option. So maybe a few little sacrifices. I won't be doing originals. Maybe I will for particularly important pages and spreads, and definitely for covers or posters and stuff like that. But for the pages, you know, I have to stick to like a realistic schedule. As much as I'd like to take forever on every comic page, I can't. I have to work fast. See, like his hair a little. Oops. That's wrong. Make his brows. And his cloak is dark as well. Thanks, Photoshop. For lagging in the middle of my stream. And just like the previous panel, the lighting would be coming from a source below the characters around their waist area. So doing kind of a reversed shading, reversed as in it's reversed compared to like normal daylight lighting under the sun, because the characters are just standing out in the daytime. So the light source is coming from the bottom. So I will do this. Hello, J-Fan! What's up? Thanks for joining. Just working on a page for my comic, Demoniac, as usual. And I'm doing some shading here on page 6. Again, let me know if you guys have any questions about anything. Feel free to type whatever in the chat. Let me know what you think, or if you would like to find out more about the comic. If you'd like to find out more about the comic, of course you can go check out my Patreon. Even if you're not a patron, I post a lot of updates on my comic over there. But also on Twitter and Facebook, you can follow me pretty much anywhere at Rainy Draws. It's, I think, where is my username? It's like on my OBS stream down there, so yeah. It's a huge chunk of the stuff that I'm posting now because I'm focusing heavily on getting this comic done. It's my major, priority right now. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. If you like mystery and high fantasy, you're gonna like this comic. It's a mystery, high fantasy, and action story. And it's set in a fantasy world I built completely from scratch. It's not kind of based really in large on sort of any other type of fantasy world. So like it's not even really Tolkien-esque. Like I invented everything. I drew my own map. I have my own fantasy races and stuff like that. I worked really hard on world building for all of last year. But on top of that, I have a really interesting story. It starts out as characters, they're investigating a demon infestation, pretty much. But of course, there's a lot more to the mystery than just that. So, I guess you'll have to read it to find out what's happening. Thanks, Jathan? I don't want to butcher your name, I'm sorry. I'm glad you think it looks cool. I'm working really hard on it. I'm making a point of making the art really good. Like, that's what I set out to do. So, of course, I'm working really hard on the story, but I also want to go all out on the art, or as much as possible within the parameters of meeting a reasonable, schedule, right? A reasonable release schedule, and being able to provide a reasonable price point for my readers. But yeah, the art is going to look good. What you see here is how the whole comic will look. So I'm not going to be cheap with the production quality. I'm going all out, no holds barred. And it's kind of just what I've always wanted to do, right? Because as much as I enjoy working on all the other projects and other franchises I've been able to work on up until now, it's just, still, it's working for other people's properties. And, I am really grateful for all the properties I was able to work on, but it's different when you're working for your own ideas. And I've always wanted to draw the things that I want to draw, and I never really had a chance to do stuff like high fantasy and really detailed artwork or action or like mystery. And I really like drawing horror, but I never get hired to draw horror, and I don't know why. I think it's because I draw, pretty faces, and like I've been told I just draw like pretty boys a lot, I guess. I don't know. But also, like, I can do cute things, and that's mostly what I get hired for. But it's not all I want to do. I really, really am into action and horror, and I like things that have a lot of suspense. And mystery is one of my favorite genres. So I just decided last year that, man, I wasn't going to wait for anybody to give me the perfect project that would make me happy and let me be able to draw the things I want to draw. I was just going to write it myself. And luckily, I worked on it for a long time, and I came up with a story that I really liked. Like, it was a struggle. I was trying to come up with, I've been writing for years and years, and, nothing really clicked. So I just kept on working for company works or franchise work, and, but I've always wanted to do creator-owned comics or pitch my own ideas, but nothing was good enough. And I'm really, really picky with what I do. I'm not going to put something out that's mediocre, right? I want something to be really good enough. And when something is good enough, if you've done any writing or created stories of your own, you know, when something is good, you just know, that thing clicks in your brain, and it's ready. It's something that's right. It's something you can stick with for years. And this is the story you want to tell, right? When it's the right story, you just know. So nothing was really coming to me that was that good until last year. And when this story came to me and I started working on it, everything just kind of fell together, and it really spoke to me. So I'm really excited for it once again for the 20th time. I'm just going to keep on saying for that. I'm just going to keep on saying that, but it's true. But yeah. Of course, everyone tells you not to do fantasy or anything ambitious for your first project, right? Because everybody, that's what everyone says. You need to start out slow. You don't wanna, be in over your head or commit to a project that you won't be able to handle. But I'm screw that. I know what I want to do, and it's not even that I'm trying to do a lot of work. I'm trying to cut back on the story and making it really streamlined and concise, and I don't want to have any fillers. I don't want to do any extra work that is not necessary to the story, but it's just, I'm not excited for a story unless it's really wild and it's fantasy and it's long and it's a challenging big project. That's just what I want to do. So I'm not going to hold back just because everybody says that, oh, you should hold back on your first project. It's not like it's my first comic. I've been doing comics for a while. So, yes, despite all that, man, I'm going to go all out, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it my way. I know what I want to do, and this is how it's going to happen. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked the comic again. Yeah, follow me on Patreon at Reenie Draws. That's RENIEDRAWS for more updates on this comic while I'm working on it. It's called Demoniac. So even if you don't pledge on Patreon, just follow me, because I post a lot of public posts as well. Of course, if you're a patron, you'll get more behind the scenes and exclusive posts and little treats and stuff. But even if you're not pledging, a few bucks every month, then you'll get some content, just the stuff I post publicly, which I also post on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else. So I'm being really open about this project. I'm showing my work as I work on it. I'm letting everybody see my process, because I think people like to see that kind of stuff. And I like sharing and talking about art and comics anyways. So it's not like I'm going to keep everything just kind of under wraps the entire time. I want to share this project with the people that support it as I work on it, so people can see it getting done. And I think that's, that's the way I want to work. How long have I been doing art for? Well, like most people that are doing art professionally, Technically, I've been doing art since I was 4, and I just never stopped. But before college, I did go to art school, but before college, I was pretty much self-trained because I went to a grade school that really hated art, and I was really discouraged from it. But I kept on drawing anyways, and I got yelled at a lot during class, and I dealt with it, and then I applied to art school and got in. So I went to the Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia. I went to the Atlanta campus mainly. So during art school, I did actually get formal training, and I majored in sequential art. I minored in animation. But yeah, since then, I've been just doing art professionally. That's been my full-time job is art ever since college. You find it tough to stay motivated to polish your 2D art? Oh, that's sad. That sucks. Why is that? It's just because it's you're encountering a lot of roadblocks. It does take a lot of practice. Man, like learning to draw takes years and years, so it's not easy. But I understand if, you know, it's hard to stay motivated sometimes. You know what really helped me though? I remember even before I went to art school, when I was just teaching myself to draw, what really motivated me was like, that was back when I posted everything on DeviantArt, and I was really big on DeviantArt. I don't use DeviantArt anymore. I still have an account, but I just never post. By the way, sorry to anybody who's like tried to contact me through it. I am never on DeviantArt anymore. But just posting my work online and talking about art and sort of getting critique from other people, and, you know, being able to see other artists and follow them, and that really helped me improve, like being part of a community, right? That's what I would suggest if you're having trouble staying motivated or finding ways to improve your art. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 2D or 3D, right? Surround yourself with a community that is dedicated to giving you honest critique, but also dedicating to bettering themselves, and really is truly about doing better artwork. So you need to surround yourself with the right people. That's really important. Nobody is an island. So yeah, having a system, like I guess I wouldn't say a support system, but just like a group of people that are all working towards the same goal, right? That you can bounce ideas off of and that'll help motivate you, that really, really helps. So even now, when I'm doing art full time and I've been doing it professionally for years, like I'm part of a lot of critique groups with my friends, and, you know, I do online hangouts with artists all the time, because also the thing with comic artists is we're kind of a reclusive bunch. We basically work at home, and we like only meet each other when we go to conventions. So it's kind of an antisocial career, for lack of a nicer way to put it. And it really helps a lot of comic artists I know to be part of online groups and chat with artists on the internet and do hangouts and stuff. And, you know, even pros do this because it's, you know, staying motivated is a real thing that we all have to work on. Because if you don't do that, it just kind of, for us, it becomes, oh, this is just a job, and you lose the love for it, right? Like, you don't want to become just a job, or you're just doing this for the practice, you're just going through the motions, so to say. That's not how you improve. You don't want it to become a chore. You want to remember why you love it. You want to sort of, you know, be motivated to get better, and see that, be surrounded with other people that also really love doing the medium, and that can sort of lift you up a bit if you're feeling down. You're a part of a few Discord art servers, but you mostly get, I guess I would say, bland feedback. So they just say your art is good without feedback. Oh, yeah, maybe join other Discord art servers. Maybe your art is good. Maybe that is just objectively true. But even the best artists could use critique. I know, like, all the groups that I'm part of with other pros, like full-time comic artist pros, like, we're just tearing each other apart. We're merciless. But that's what us types like to do. We're all mildly masochistic. Maybe you just need to find um, a better group that is more. I feel like maybe you're not part of a group with the mindset of like they want to do this professionally and they really want to be hard in the paint with the critique, right? Because not every group that focuses on art, not every like art group you find will really be that dedicated and that hardcore about it. So I'm not sure what I would suggest. Are you going to art school? Are you thinking of going to art school? If you're going to art school, that helps a lot, and that helps you make connections with other people that have the same mindset of they really want to improve themselves and they really want to give and they want to take real critique and constantly work hard on their art. Very, very motivated people. I mean, you don't end up going to art school unless you're really motivated to constantly get better, right? Yeah, maybe like some art groups, it you have to see if it's maybe groups that want to do it more as a hobby, which that's likely, and that's fine. It's a much more low pressure attitude towards doing art, but yeah, if you really want to find the groups that go hard in the paint with critiques and stuff, I don't know, it's a little harder to find. I think that cloak looks good. Let me knock back the lighting a little bit over here. Yeah, just like that. Alright. Cool. But yeah, good luck with your quest to improve on 2D art. I truly wish you all the best. I mean, it just takes a lot of work. So, like, important thing is don't give up. Keep on practicing. It won't feel like you're improving, but before you know it, you'll look back and realize how much better you are. You know, what happens is you suddenly have bursts of improvement. You'll never know it when you're improving, but it'll be months and months of toil, and all of a sudden, like, something will click. And then you'll realize you're reaching, like, the next step. Or sometimes you just slowly start to draw better without realizing it. But the key is to keep on working. If you're not keeping a sketchbook already, keep sketchbooks. Keep a sketchbook with you at all times. If you have any ideas, just jot it down. Always draw, always draw, always draw. That's how you get better. Oh, you're a professional 3D artist. Well, you should know sort of other people that do art professionally, or 2D artists that you can talk to about if you want to improve your 2D art, right? Do you know anyone through your 3D job? Usually 3D artists, they'll work with some amount of like 2D artists, like, you know, 3D modelers for games. You work with 2D concept artists and all that stuff. And there's a lot of crossover nowadays. Like when I was doing animation, we would learn 3D as well. Maybe you can ask around your art groups and stuff. See if there's anyone you can connect with, or just, you know what I used to do with a lot of artist friends from like college? We would just do drink and draws. Like we would get together and do like drawing challenges and stuff. Having a group is definitely really important. Oh, the bottom of his cloak should be lighter. There we go. That looks okay. The shading's kind of all over the place. I just did like Ivar's hair and Cosmia's cloak. Now I should do their skin. Those kind of. Let's see. No, actually, I think I can do this all in one layer. This is working. I was thinking Ivar's hair looked too dark, but I think that'll be fine. Because the light source is so low. Alright. And I'll also probably lighten this shading layer because it's kind of dark now. So what I'll do before I finish up the page, I'll probably add like, the backgrounds will be mostly dark because it's nighttime, so I'll throw a layer of just gradated black in the backgrounds, and I'll probably lighten these shading layers to maybe around 45%, just like 5 to 8% lighter than what it is now, so people can see the line art and the details a little more. Let's see. The lighting or the shadows would also start from the top of his head here, like that. And I'm gonna follow the strands of his hair, so you can see. Just like I did with Ivar's short hair. Over here, his hair is longer, so for the brush strokes, I'll follow the strands of his hair in the direction it's going towards to add a little texture. Because like I said, I want the shading to come across as a little painterly. I want to look like ink wash. So I'm adding texture as I go. Like I'm doing texture when I'm doing the line art, and I'm also doing texture when I'm doing the shading. So this is a relatively realistic style, and I want the world to feel really immersive. And I'm doing really detailed backgrounds and all that stuff. So I just want the world to feel really textural and like tangible, you know? Also, I just really like doing detail. In case that was obvious. So pretty much every step of the way, I'm just gonna like detail like crazy. Let's see. Try to add some subtle highlights here. So I'm just keeping the how everything would be structured in 3 dimensions in mind while I'm doing the shading. That's really important. So say the hair behind his neck would be in shade because his shoulder would be blocking the light source, which is coming from a lantern that's being held in the hand of the guy in front. So the hair over here would be light, but further back it would be darker. like that. And just do the same thing over here. With darker area. He's got this weird hairstyle. Someone told me it was weird. He's got like kind of that half the braids in the back, kind of like that. But I'm like, like sometimes he'll kind of just gather it up in like a half ponytail. And I just really wanted to draw braids. It's kind of part of the Nordic aesthetic that I'm going for this fantasy story. But also, once again, I really like to draw detail, so I just want to draw cool hair. Everybody's gonna have really cool hair for no reason. Like I told someone, everyone's gonna have really detailed clothing, even if they're peasants. Like, just, I will ignore the logic for that one aspect of my story, just because I want to draw really pretty clothes. So even if someone is super poor, like the clothes will be really detailed, and I mean it won't look like lavish, you know. If someone is really poor or like just lives in the mountains, I'll have like sort of design their clothes to be a little shabbier and maybe dirtier, but I'll still do a lot of detail and do a lot of patterning on everything just because I really want to draw detail. So that's my curse. I can't, I must spend forever on everything and pattern everything to heck and back. Yep, my curse. Ridium says Steve Jobs dresses all casual. Steve Jobs, he did dress pretty casual. He had that iconic turtleneck. Oh, I'm also gonna do some cool things with the so it's not just I really want to draw detail and like cool patterns on everything, but it ties into the story. So a story element, part of the story is textile work is like a subplot. Like that sounds really weird, but it's just that, okay, so the concept is, and this kind of ties into Slavic mythology as well. Actually, the mythology for a lot of cultures, and it's the idea that texture work is magical because threads and woven threads symbolize sort of the threads of fate. Like it shows up a lot in anime and stuff, but it's also kind of like if you've seen Slavic mythology and Nordic mythology, it's like these women spinning, you know, like with the distaff and spindle and spinning threads that symbolizes the people that sort of deities that control fate. So I'm kind of like very lightly tying into that into my story. So like having magic does exist in the story that I'm doing. So one of the a few of the major characters are shamans. So it's kind of a subplot that there's magic in textile work, and textiles can be enchanted and stuff, and several of the patterns actually have meaning and tie into the character arcs and stuff. And every character has a sort of pattern that their clothes will gravitate towards. So like I'm going all out with the visual design, and it's not just because it is because I really like drawing detail, but I'm going to take advantage of that and tie that into the story and into how I design the characters. It's going to be fun. See, these strands will be lighter. Does this even look right? I think it looks right. Ooh, this is too bright. Actually, I think I'll lighten that. Here, I'll make that eraser just 50%. Oop, not 5%, 50%. And I'll lighten the shading on his hair. Because again, his hair is really light. So when I'm doing shading, I have to remember to not make it too dark, even if they are in a really dark environment. So knock that back a bit. Still brushing in the direction that the hair strands are going in. Huh, there's a little noise outside, so I muted my mic for a second. Alright. I think that's good enough for today. All that's left is, let me save real quick. Always save, everybody, remember to save. All that's left is I have to shade the skin on the characters, and I have to throw in some shading on the backgrounds. So because the backgrounds should be much darker because they're in the nighttime, they're walking through, you know, a snowy forest in the nighttime. So, and I have to add some snow speckles, but after that this page will pretty much be done. So, but I'm gonna head off to get lunch, and I need more coffee definitely. But thank you guys for joining me. I was really happy to share this with everybody. Once again, this is a page from my comic Demoniac. If you want to check out more of it, you should check out my Patreon, which is Rini Draws, or just follow me on any other platform because I post process work from this and from a lot of my other sketches and whatever other jobs that I'm doing. So I'm Rini Draws on like Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, everything. I just go by RENAEDRAWS. So follow me on there or follow me here. I try to do art streams every week, and hopefully the next one will be next Saturday? I'm hoping. But follow me on Twitter to stay updated on when exactly that will be. But anyways, thank you so much for joining, and have a good night. Bye!